With this WVLI News Update, I'm Rob West, back with a look at today's news right after this.
Stay connected to your community, even on the go. The WVLI Podcast Network brings you 3 great local shows. The WVLI News Update keeps you informed. Kankakee Valley Community Happenings gets you ready for the weekend. And This One Time in Kankakee shares the incredible stories of our area. Find the WVLI Podcast Network wherever you get your podcasts or at WVLI927.com. The voices you trust beyond the dial. Welcome to this WVLI News Update Special Report. I'm Jake LaMore. Manteno Mayor Annette LaMore opened last night's village board meeting by reading a lengthy statement she'd prepared for the night. During the address, Mayor LaMore said she wanted to explain the facts and reasoning behind some of her recent actions as village president. What you're about to hear is her address in full.
I want to acknowledge the concerns of our citizens and, as village president, apologize for the embarrassment and frustration caused by the recent conflicts within village government. I hear you. I understand that my responsibility and the responsibility of every person sitting at this table is to represent the residents of Manteno and focus on the issues that matter most to them. I recognize that the disagreements and conflicts within village government have created frustration, confusion, and division among our citizens. That division is not what our community deserves. And we must do better by providing respectful leadership, clear communication, and responsible representation. What occurred at the previous meeting was unacceptable and did not reflect the professionalism expected of those elected to serve this community. Today, I ask each person at this table to remember our purpose, to act in the best interest of the residents we represent, not for personal interests or the interests of any individual. When we remain focused on serving the villagers, making decisions based on what is right for Manteno, and treating one another with respect, there is no place for the unprofessional conduct or actions that occurred at that last village board meeting. On being transparent, in the interest of transparency and clarity, I want to explain the facts and reasoning behind some of my decisions and actions as village president. In the most recent election, the voters of Manteno chose new leadership and a new direction for our community. They elected me as village president and also elected 4 out of 5 candidates who shared a vision for greater transparency, accountability, and putting residents first. The message from voters was clear. They wanted change. They did not want to continue doing things the same way they had been done in the past. As village president, my responsibility is to represent the interests of all Manteno residents and to follow through on the priorities that they voted for. The changes we are making are intentional and focused on creating a government that serves the entire Manteno community, not a select group or special interests. The current conflict is, in large part, about resistance to those changes. Unfortunately, as I have worked to represent the will of Manteno voters, I have faced repeated obstacles from 4 trustees and individuals who remain connected to the previous village administration. When the village president is prevented from carrying out the priorities that voters elected them to accomplish, there is still a responsibility to lead and move the community forward. Illinois law provides the village president with specific executive authority, and my actions have been based on that responsibility. The residents of Manteno do not want ongoing conflict. They want their government to work together, follow proper procedures, and focus on the issues that matter to them. However, they also expect their elected leaders to lead, make decisions, and honor the direction they chose through their vote. That is why I have relied on the authority provided under Illinois law to ensure village government can continue operating and serving the public. Today, the question is whether we will continue moving forward in a professional and productive way, or whether we will repeat the conflict and disruption seen at the previous meeting. Protecting one individual's employment position at the expense of chaos that takes away public trust, professionalism, and the ability of village government to function does not represent the greater good for Manteno citizens. It represents a special interest at the expense of the villagers who are being deprioritized to give favor to an individual. That is not the representation that villagers voted for. Why did I believe replacing the former village attorney was in the best interest of Manteno residents? There were several reasons I felt the village needed different legal counsel, and here are a few. Fact number one. As a former village trustee, I witnessed the former village attorney advise the board to throw out a legally earned bid, ultimately resulting in another job going to a family member of the former mayor. Fact number two. Under the legal advice of the former village attorney, the village approved a heavy industrial company in Manteno that I believe was misaligned with our own ordinances. That poor decision has resulted in a lawsuit. And one of the village attorney's responsibilities is to ensure the village allows its law and protects its interests, and to dispel misinformation that has been shared by many. I am not, and I did not found the CCOM. I have never had a leadership position with CCOM, but I was and I am a concerned citizen of Manteno who ran and was elected for mayor in response to such concerns. As mayor, I know that the communist Chinese company, Gotion, has realized our fears by disregarding our U.S. requirements and expectations. And this could have been curtailed by strong legal contracts written by our village attorney. And for those making disrespectful accusations about racism, I am not referring to individuals. I am referring to the unique threats of communist-owned businesses in our village, who may be apt to prioritize their communist laws and values above our U.S. laws, regulations, and expectations. And now it is a fact that in our own village of Manteno, this lack of prioritization of our U.S. laws and regulations has been happening and is a realized threat. And this threat was foreseeable, yet apparently disregarded by our previous village attorney and our previous village board, who continue to protect Gotion. It is a fact that our local unions recently walked off the job because Gotion had its own Chinese employees cheating and sneaking by doing the union's work off hours. And I did talk to a union rep about that. And it is a fact that Gotion, month after month, continues to leave Manteno unsafe without fulfilling its requirements to employ a fire brigade to keep us safe. Our village fire department is upset, as they are not equipped to handle such thing as a chemical fire threat that Gotion presents. And we have current trustees who continue to support Gotion's efforts to extend meeting their safety requirements. So as mayor, when I look for our village contracts with Gotion to hold them accountable for not fulfilling its fire brigade requirements, my findings show that the village attorney had not created written agreements to hold Gotion responsible. It is literally the village attorney's job to advise the village and create legal agreements and contracts to ensure the village's interests are protected. And I have yet to find any such village contracts with Gotion to require them to keep us safe. I found that astounding. Because of these concerns and others, I made the decision that Manteno residents would be better served with stronger legal representation. My decision to hire the law firm of the Vasellis was made with the understanding that we needed legal counsel capable of navigating the conflict, resistance to change, and difficult circumstances that we have experienced during recent village board meetings. This decision was not made to create conflict. It was made to better serve the citizens of Manteno. Throughout this process, I have remained focused on leading. I have not raised my voice, called names, or attempted to disrespect or embarrass my colleagues. I sit in this chair and try to do the job voters elected me to do, and I do not support or promote the poor or disrespectful treatment of others, asking citizens, including my own supporters, to refrain from engaging in the bully-type behaviors that we've witnessed at this meeting and online. This is not an easy fix. But if we as leaders can model the behavior that we ask of our citizens, we all will benefit. The residents of Manteno have witnessed the challenges and disagreements taking place in this room. As village president, my responsibility is to ensure our government can function, follow Illinois law, and serve the public effectively. Because of the ongoing conflict and disruption, I have taken the necessary steps to help restore order and allow village government to move forward, including seeking a temporary restraining order. We expect a judge to determine the appropriate legal representation for the village tomorrow morning. We will be at the Kankakee County Courthouse at 9 o'clock. I look forward to that decision so we can move past this stalemate, reduce unnecessary conflict and legal expenses, and return our focus to serving the citizens of Manteno. Regarding the June 25th emergency meeting, I want to be more transparent and offer the facts related to the illegal emergency meeting that I did not attend on June 25. I repeatedly heard the 4 trustees and others spread patently false information about me and this event, and as I was the only person who was present throughout the obstruction that led to this illegal meeting, I want to share the facts versus the speculation. Fact: I did intend to call an emergency village meeting, but I did not call the meeting, as I did not submit the requirements to create this meeting because of obstruction by a village employee and her husband, a village trustee who lost to me in the mayor race. Why did I want to call an emergency meeting? Due to the calendar creating a longer meeting break between June 15th and July 6th, I thought the villagers would be better served by an extra meeting, giving us an opportunity to promote the village's many upcoming 4th of July activities. I wanted to discuss my reasoning for replacing the village attorney, and I wanted to allow the village to be able to conduct its usual business without such a long break. Calling an emergency meeting was the technical and logistical way of accomplishing this. Fact: I asked a paid administrative assistant in Village Hall to conduct basic village business and post my agenda for an emergency meeting. She refused me, producing a 1974 law requiring me to submit any agenda for this rare emergency meeting to the village clerk in person. And because the village clerk was out of town, we both knew I would not be able to meet the in-person requirement. So she refused to post my agenda. After her refusal, the village attorney was called on the phone, and he clarified that the requirement in the law, 52 years later, allowed electronic submissions to the clerk. Fact: when I brought my signed agenda back to this assistant to have it emailed to the clerk and then posted, she again denied me, as she informed me that she had now had her husband's agenda in lieu of mine. I told her that was unacceptable, and she thereafter called her trustee husband for help. He ultimately told her that his agenda was supported by 4 trustees and it was to be posted, not mine. However, the trustee's agenda was never sent to the clerk, per the standard that his wife required of me. Fact: the trustee's wife twice refused my administrative request so I could conduct my mayoral duties, and instead she followed direction from her husband, who obstructed my efforts to promote his own aim without following the same law his wife had demanded of me. Fact: the signed copy of my agenda that the trustees have waived at meetings was acquired from my interaction with the trustee's wife, and it never was sent to the clerk per the law because she had obstructed me first. And so my signed paper was a meaningless prop to mislead the public. Why the technicalities matter? I do not believe engaging technicality conflicts are useful for the citizens of Manteno, but if technicalities are used to obstruct me as mayor, they need to apply to everyone on the village board, spouses included. And this situation highlights the reason that nepotism by our previous village government continues to serve individuals instead of the citizens of Manteno. The fact that I was obstructed to serve in my duties as mayor by one employee who was a spouse of a village trustee is one example of the poor decision-making from the previous board, and that is what got me elected. The nepotism and the poor decision-making of the former village government was on full display, with no trustee pushback, when the former mayor fired village staff members and replaced them with the mayor's own wife and a trustee's wife. I could continue to talk about facts of such self-serving decisions of former village officials that put personal interests above the interests of the citizens of Manteno. And in addition to Gotion, it's worth reminding everyone that the sales of our water and sewer to Aqua were more questionable than appear to have even greater benefits to a few at the exorbitant expense to every citizen of Manteno who will pay permanent water bills to a for-profit business that has recently asked for permission for a $26 million price increase. We had great village-owned water before Aqua at water sewer costs of a fraction of the cost of our current monthly bills, Aqua bills. When the former village board, including some of the trustees who are on the board now, voted in favor of these permanently inflated water bills, no citizens, to my knowledge, were complaining about Manteno's water system. Yet, after ignoring many villagers who showed up at a village meeting to express their displeasure with Aqua water, and I was there, one person did show up to speak in favor of Aqua water, and that was the former mayor's brother. And lo and behold, your Manteno trustees voted in alignment with that one family member who spoke on behalf of Aqua. Since the sale of our water in 2007 and sewer in 2018 to Aqua, the village trustees chose to spend the majority of over $25 million that it received from Aqua before my tenure as mayor. And much of the money from the Aqua sale was approved by the former village board for spending on several projects with questionable bids, many given to the mayor's family members thereafter. Nevertheless, we can be grateful for many of the things that Aqua water money has bought us, like village signs, lovely parks, and a few years of tax relief. But those things did not come free. And with much of the money from the sale already spent before I was elected, the benefits will subside. Yet every villager is now permanently saddled with a for-profit company's services at alarming monthly costs that will continue to rise. When you get your monthly water bill, you can thank the decisions of the previous board and some of your current trustees. Yet you can take comfort in the fact that the villagers have since voted in new leadership who has made it their mission to be more thoughtful, less self-serving, and aim to make decisions that prioritize the greater good of Manteno citizens without special interests. As I close, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen. I know this has been a lengthy address, but I believe transparency requires having honest conversations about the issues facing our community. I promise to lead with transparency, and today is an example of that commitment. I have tried to focus on the facts, not speculation, and my goal is not to create more conflict, but to provide clarity. I also want to be clear about the future of Manteno. Our residents love this community because of what makes it special. Our small town character, our sense of community, and the quality of life we have built together. We welcome and are working toward progress. We welcome improvements, But progress does not always mean growth in size. We do not have to become a bigger community to become a better community. Thoughtful progress means making decisions that protect what residents love about Manteno while creating opportunities that benefit everyone. I want the residents of Manteno to know that I hear you. I take the decision you made for new leadership and a new direction seriously. I will continue working to remove obstacles, restore effective government, and make decisions that protect the character of our community while moving Manteno forward in a thoughtful and responsible way. And I ask that everyone on the board join me in considering what is best for the citizens of Manteno before engaging in disagreements at a level that is unworthy of the people we serve. Thank you.
We will keep you informed on those court proceedings Mayor LaMore spoke of last night. You can stay up to date by following the WVLI News Update wherever you get your podcasts. Listen to 92.7 FM if you're in the greater Kankakee area, or stream the radio station online. You can also check the local news section at WVLI927.com. That concludes this WVLI News Update special report. Thanks for listening. I'm Jake LaMore.
This one time in Kankakee, my stalker bought me a PS4 that I gladly accepted.
On the latest episode of This One Time in Kankakee, Will Rasmussen unpacks a wild, completely true story of awkward workplace encounters, industrial freezers, and a massive tracking mystery.
She would just give them my license plate and they'd run it for her.
Listen to This One Time in Kankakee now wherever you get your podcasts.